Welcome to the work section for Monday, September 21st, 2020. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
To the flag
United
of
States,
the United States
of
of
America,
America,
to the republic
the nation,
and to the republic
which it stands,
for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilman Scaringi,
Present.
Councilwoman Resnetti,
Present.
Councilwoman Riley,
Present.
Councilwoman Friedman,
Present.
Councilman Burns,
Present.
Councilman Strawn,
Present.
and President Scanlon.
Present.
That's all 7 here.
All right. Chuck Shager is here to talk about RL 20-195.
This is the RL to correct a budget error that we had in there from last year. When we rebonded, or should say when we did a first time bond, on the 2019 A bond, we thought our administration fee would be $34,000 this year. When EFC actually came through and did it, it was $34,000 last year, and this year was $112,000. So we got to make up that difference of, I think it's like $77,000. So we've taken some lines out of this sewer budget, hopefully that we're going to be short on to cover that for the remainder part of the year. It is possible I may have to come back to cover some of those lines that we're drawing from, but we did an estimate throughout the rest of the year and came up with those lines that we thought we could take money from.
Questions or comments? Councilwoman Friedman.
Thank you, President Scanlon. Sorry, I'm using 2 monitors and the mute button moves around. I was just wondering what do you think, or what caused such a large difference in the administrative fee from 2019 to 2020?
Because we did the bond in last July and August, and the administration fee is due in October, we didn't think they would take it that soon. They normally don't. So it was really only for a short period of time.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you just repeat that? I didn't hear the last part of your sentence.
I said when we originally got the breakdown of the administration cost, the $34,000 was due in October. And when we did the budget back in August and September, and this bond closed in August, we thought that $34,000 would be in next year's budget. That was a mistake on our part. They actually charged us the $34,000 last year, and it's going to be $112 this year.
Okay, I'm still confused. Why is it such a difference between last year to this year?
Because last year's was only for a partial year.
Oh, okay. Got it. Thank you for explaining.
Okay.
Councilwoman Riley.
Thank you, Council President. Okay, thank you, Mr. Shaker, for explaining that. So please clarify for me, we are paying for the administrative fees for the notes. So this is part of the group of notes that we're seeking to refinance at this time?
No, this is a brand new note that was for a total of $47 million last year related to the joint sewage treatment plant. It was a brand new bond last year.
Okay. So it's not part of the bundle of bonds we discussed last meeting?
No.
So will we be subsequently receiving additional RLs regarding other bonds that will be renegotiated and refinanced?
This year.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I do not believe so. Here. I do not believe so. No.
Okay. Is there a period in which it's advised that we pursue the refunding of these substantial bonds? Have we met that window? What have you been advised in terms of taking advantage of the finance rates as you disclosed last meeting?
I believe every bond that we have is at the most advantageous rate that we could do today and be good with, once these ones work their way through.
Okay. But it is a likelihood that the administrative fee for the refinance process may be different once that process is approved, right?
That is incorrect, Angela. What will happen is the ones with EFC that we do have administration fees, they will give us back a new number that they call a refunding number that they'll pay us back. All of our rates will stay the same. They'll just give us a refunding amount back.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Councilman Burns.
There's nothing to do with that. I'm looking at the legislation that was in the last work session and modifying the 2018, no, not that one. Amending the January 2014 bond. I've forgotten what that was. What was that?
That was a bond that we did back in January 2014. It's sort of like a refinancing. Let's say that it was $8 million at 5%. We're going to get it 8 million at, say, 3%.
Okay, thanks.
Those numbers have not come back to me on what the award's going to be.
Mhm.
We sent them out, but I have not got the answers back yet.
Other questions on RL 20-195? Thank you, Mr. Shager. Ken Frank, are you out there?
I am here.
Tell us about RL 20-194, please.
This comes up periodically. This is a house that needs to be demolished. It's our hope that we will get a judgment against the owner or get the insurance company to pay up front. But because it's a safety hazard, we want to demolish it sooner rather than later. So what we do is we amend the budget to increase anticipated revenues to be equal to the cost of doing the demolition now.
This is a house in my district. It's been vacant. I want to say probably 10 years, and the guy lives on the west side that owns this house. House is falling in on itself. Finally, after COVID's over, they went to court and decided that they gave him 30 days to tear it down himself, and the city's going to tear it down. So this is where we're at with this house.
But
So hopefully,
if the city tears it down, then we will have to go after the owner for the cost.
Okay. Questions or comments on this? Councilwoman Riley?
Yes, so I'm sorry. So part of the legal proceedings did determine that it has been kind of vetted and stamped as an imminent risk.
Yes, the court has already determined it needs to be demolished.
Okay. Are we able to receive the summary statement from that hearing?
I don't know if we can get a transcript of that or not. I can ask.
That would be great. Thank you. Because the reason I ask is because we have people in my district that would like to have the city demolish privately owned properties. And we know that code has told us there's a process. So I just want to make sure, we understand the process so that when we're communicating this to others, like you can't just pick a house that the city is going to demolish. There is a true process that's followed. And I just want to read the language. That's all. So I would appreciate that, Ken.
Okay, I'll get something. I don't know that there's specific language. It may not answer your question, but we can get you something from the court regarding the determination.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Other questions on 20? Councilman Burns?
Yeah, this isn't not necessarily on this house, but just in general, how long does it take for the city to finally say, we're going to tear it down? I mean, what is that? How long is that process? Usually, ballpark.
I can't tell you. It's individual. It depends on each house. So you may have a house that was significantly destroyed by a fire. We may knock it down that day.
Okay.
You know, we have another house that may deteriorate over time, and 3 years ago it was okay. You know, now it needs to come down.
Okay.
And then
So it's site specific.
And code determines whether that has to come down, or is it the fire department? Who says this now has to come down and now we're going to do it?
Usually it's a combination of code, engineering, or the fire marshal.
Okay. Thank you, Ken.
And then we give the owner an opportunity to get their own, structural engineer. They may tell us, no, we think it can be saved. Here's the work that's going to be done. It's all very site specific.
Okay, thanks.
Councilwoman Riley.
Yes, just for clarification, so then the city pays for this demolition and the owner is free and clear?
Well, no, we're going to sue the owner.
Okay, for the total cost of the demolition and any outstanding tax, whatever?
Well, the taxes are separate, but yes, for the cost of the demolition.
Okay, now, how many proposals did we have for this demolition?
I don't recall. We usually reach out to at least 3 places to get a potential price for it.
Okay, and so how was this one selected?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. We reach out, ask the different demolition companies if they can give us a price.
And you selected?
Sure.
We select the lowest price.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? Juliana, pending legislation, please. Oh, the flag proposal. All right, so we all saw, I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, was Mr. Feinstein or Mr. Feinstein submitted this request to have the flag change in the city of Binghamton? I've talked to some of you about this. My contention is right now, there's a lot going on right now. We've got a lot going on, so I'm not opposed to having the flag changed. But I think we may have to revisit this in a couple of months when things maybe slow down a little bit. I just want to hear your feelings on this, everybody else.
Mr. President?
Yeah, Councilman Friedman, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I just want to say that I was in correspondence with Mr. Feinstein today, and I believe that he is listening in on the meeting. So I don't know if we would want to see if we can get in touch with him. I told him he might need to maybe call the clerk or something, like as we normally do when people are presenting legislation, just to maybe hear from him as to why. Because I know he said in the original proposal that this was something that is actually rather timely due to all of the things that are happening. I just would be curious to hear what he has to say about it, if that's possible.
Let's hear everybody else's feelings on this first. We'll get back to you, Councilwoman Riley.
Okay.
Anybody else want to speak?
Councilwoman Riley didn't say anything.
I know,
You said
but anybody else want to speak about the flag?
If I just can make a
Sure,
brief comment? I really appreciate what seems to be, a whole lot of time going into this proposal. And I mean, it looks like a lot of work went into it, and I appreciate it. I guess I would have to hear more about, what the urgency is for something like this right now. And I don't know that it's necessarily a priority or something that, and again, I'm not saying that there shouldn't be discussion about it. I guess with everything that we have to be thinking about and considering, I don't know that I feel like it's a top of the list of things to focus on. Not that we shouldn't, but that's what I'm thinking about. And also, I guess I'd just like to hear more about, the why and supporting something like this. I had really informal conversations, to be honest, not a whole lot with some folks in the community. And I think everybody I've brought this up to has sort of raised their eyebrows and curiosity as to really, why. And so, I mean, those are just my thoughts right now about that.
Councilman Riley.
Thank you, Council President. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so this gentleman was emailing us all and dropped a paper packet in our folders. I think Lee can attest to that. So I thought, hey, here's a constituent that has done a lot of work. Let's hear him out. I do agree with you, though, Councilwoman Rezanetti, that we have the budget coming up. We have a lot coming up really soon, and we don't know a lot. Like, we have not had those conversations. But I do encourage anyone that has the desire or has an idea to continue to write to us, and then we can have those conversations when it's timed appropriately. Again, I know he tried to submit it, but it was in the midst of COVID, so we had a whole lot of other things going on. But yes, I don't even know the background story, but I am interested in learning more. So perhaps we can set aside some time after, again, some of the more pressing items are addressed, to invite him to have a conversation and what inspired him to pursue this change.
I don't know if we necessarily have to invite him, because let's be clear on this. If the flag were to change, that would be an administration and city council thing. We're not going to look for, unless we send out to all the residents, submit your ideas for a new flag. So I don't know if we need to talk to him personally. Again, I'm not opposed to the idea, but I'm not sure what he's going to bring to the table.
You're saying in addition to the work, the information that we have that we've received?
Yeah, we've seen everything from him. I'm not sure we need to sit down and talk to him. That's my opinion. Anybody else want to speak about the flag?
Yes, this is Councilwoman Friedman.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, while I hear what everyone is saying, I do also, so far what everyone has said is I would like to hear more. And I know that he just actually sent me an email that he is tuning into the meeting now. And since this was a relatively short meeting, do we think that maybe this might be the time to learn more and then decide if this is something that we would like to pursue, or maybe delay until things quiet down a little bit?
I don't think that the time's like with the budget coming up, so we'll talk about this again. Like I said, we can revisit this.
Okay.
Again, and we can talk about it. I personally don't think we need to sit down and talk to Mr. Feinstein. If the city council wants to change the flag, we can change the flag.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it may be, somebody was telling me the history of the flag. I don't really know the whole story, but apparently somebody from Seton designed this flag for the city. And it's not as old as you think. So, and that's what I heard about the flag. So I'd like to hear more of the history of the flag, how it came to be. And we can go from there. I mean, I'm not opposed to changing the flag. I'm really not. But I think we will decide as a council to change the flag. And I don't know what, I've read everything Mr. Feinstein said. He did a lot of work in it. So I agree.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if we need to sit down and talk to him. Anybody else want to talk about the flag? Lee, you want to read pending legislation, please?
For pending legislation, we have the 6th Ward Interceptor Sewer Replacement Project. RL 20-181, which is amending some capital budget lines. Those lines are no longer active. And 182, which is amending the finance budget in regard to the assistant purchasing agent. 183 is amending permanent ordinance 20-46 to correct some budget lines. 184 is agreement with the Urban League. 186 is amending the January 2014 bond ordinance. 187 modifying the 2018 bond ordinance the Pierce Creek Bridge. And then 188 is an agreement with the YWCA for their young ones in the early learning and youth development program.
Thank you, Lee. Anybody want anything else we need to discuss before I adjourn the meeting? Councilwoman Friedman, please. I'm sorry.
You can go ahead, Aviva.
Okay, thanks. This is something that a constituent pointed out to me that I wouldn't have otherwise thought about, but I was wondering if we could add or reformat the agenda, because this constituent said, okay, when you're looking at the city website, like not as council people, but as constituents, when you're looking at the website, you click on the date of the appropriate meeting, and then it gives you the relevant documentation. But when we have the pending legislation, it's referencing legislation from a previous meeting, which we know, but I think that if an average constituent is looking at this, they might not know where to find the content of previous legislation. So I was wondering if we could maybe add a note to the bottom of it, just a little sentence that says, you know, look at the previous meeting, or something to direct constituents to make it easier for them to find out the content of the previous legislation.
Lee, what's your thoughts on that?
Just in an effort of transparency, you know, we want to make it easy for constituents who maybe don't know what's going on and want to find out to be able to access that information easily.
Lee, is that a possibility?
Yeah, we can do that.
Lee said he would take care of that. Councilwoman
Okay,
Friedman.
great. Thanks.
Anything else we need to discuss before we adjourn? Councilman Burns.
Two things. What do y'all think about if we go, I don't know when we're gonna go back into the big room, but I know we're taping it. What if we kept it live for people? You know, not necessarily the phone calls, but streaming live. And if they want to talk, they got to come in person, but.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. If it's possible, I don't have a
Yeah,
problem.
I mean, it doesn't.
But we, obviously, the public comments got it, and when we go back live, it's got to be in person. Yeah.
And the other thing is, what was that thing, but what did I miss about changing the meetings or something on the calendar?
I was discussing with Lee what the calendar, I was discussing the calendar with Lee. I don't know if I put anything together yet, but we'll
It's the
talk
same-
about
it's the
that as
same
a council.
thing-
We'll talk
It's
about
the same
that.
thing we did earlier this year, like, you know, when we kind of like set up a calendar, right? Like if we want to meet.
For next year now, so this is for
Right,
2021.
right.
Oh, okay.
It's for 2021.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It just
Do we
it
wanna
gives the
change
dates and-
anything?
and we can, Councilwoman Riley, please.
Yes, but we'd like to see the draft that others have seen. That's what I would like to add to Councilman Burns' statement. So if there is a paper draft, let us know. We'll pick it up. If it needs to be emailed, send that our way as well.
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss? Councilwoman Riley, please.
Yes, one more time. Thank you, Council President. Just to follow up on what Councilman Burns just mentioned about continuing the WebEx process when we move to our regular processes, does the legislation need to happen? I know Jared said he was taking the lead when we moved into the COVID process, but do we need something official to continue this web-based technology and uploading to YouTube?
Ken, can you answer that, please, if you're still there?
I'm not, are you asking whether or not you need to adopt legislation to broadcast the meetings?
To continue in the fashion under the executive order once we have resumed our normal function as a council.
Then you have to go back to in-person meetings.
Right.
That was not the question.
But can we continue to make them live for people to see, even though we're in person?
That was the question.
Yeah, that's an IT question. That's up to you. That's up to IT. That's.
I'm sure it can be worked out with IT. I don't see any reason we couldn't do these meetings, still Zoom the meetings to people.
in the past, didn't it get streamed by other council members? I
It
felt
used to
like-
be, yeah, it used to be on
And
television.
so-
It's on TVA.
Oh,
But no,
and-
there's no reason we can't continue to these meetings live. But like I said, when we're live, people have to come in to make public comment because it just makes sense to me.
So that was the question, Ken. Do we need to have something in writing so that it continues beyond?
No.
No, you're saying no?
I'd say no.
No, it was always broadcast when it was on cable. So if we need to tweak something to make sure that, we've decided to do it this way, but I'm not sure, do you need a resolution or to change your ordinance in order to broadcast them?
Consistently, yes, that's the question.
It's not necessary, but if you'd like to, you can.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
We're adjourned.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
You too.